We have a very interesting pop culture and political crossover as podcaster Bobbi Althoff is now commenting on the deportations that are happening as it is hit close to home. I'm going to share what she has to say, why she's putting her gigantic following on the line to speak her truth to power. And then I'm going to share some other updates on the government shutdown and some responses to other political issues going on. So Bobbi posted a few days ago, and I've been covering this for a while. By the way, if you don't know Bobbi Althoff, she became famous as a mom, 2 young kids, got famous on TikTok, really blew up by interviewing Drake. Then her marriage sort of failed, and a lot of folks thought somehow Drake was involved because Drake and her got in a fight. It's very wishy-washy, but to give respect to Bobbi Althoff, she's made her career out of like taking a chance on herself. She took a big risk. She was paying for her own flights to go interview these people, and it's paid off. She's, absolutely, expanded her empire. She's really crushed it. Made multiple millions of dollars in the last couple of years in doing so. So for her to speak out against these issues, which are very divisive, it's a financial hit. No doubt about it. That's why I respect so much when someone, shares their story. Have a listen.
Who is very close to me and my family and has been for the last 20 years. Someone without a criminal record. Someone who does nothing other than work really fucking hard to provide for his family. Was taken, kidnapped in broad daylight by men who came up in an unmarked Nissan with blacked out windows.
By the way, I would love if Bobbi Althoff is the sort of straw that broke the camel's back and is able to get some change going. Now, in order to have the conversation about ICE and the deportations that's out there, we have to remember, they said in the election, the Republican Donald Trump said, we're only going to be going after the violent criminals, right? It was the rapists, the murderers, the gang members. This is everything they said to go after. There's been people that have lived in this country that have done everything the right way. They've waited years to get immigration hearings. They've been put on wait lists, or, there's so many people that are here that pay into a tax system that they do not benefit from. They pay in through their, employment taxes and get nothing back. And now what we're seeing is, and by the way, as we're seeing it from the Super Bowl here, I share this on the first half of the podcast today. Bad Bunny hates America. That's what the Trump audience is saying, the singer of the halftime show. He hates America. ICE will be at the Super Bowl. This was said by Trump's former advisor and then confirmed by, immigration officials saying, yeah, we'll be at the Super Bowl. We'll be out there looking for people. They're going to Home Depots. They're essentially going to places where people have jobs. They're not going, they're not focusing their energy on the violent criminals, because that would be more dangerous to do, right? To break up the actual violent gangs that do exist. It's a much smaller level. So they're going to places where people are just trying to make a few bucks. They're going to farms. They're going to Home Depots. It's super offensive. It's not a risk to society. And this is how they divide us. They try to make all of the problems that exist, which come from late stage capitalism, the problems that exist come from billionaires rigging the system, employment not rising up with costs, all those issues that exist. They're trying to place the blame on immigrants. And that's just frankly not the case, because white people, Americans, are not taking the jobs that a lot of immigrants were willing to take in order to make it in this country. Some of the people that exhibit the most American qualities out there are immigrants who are here either legally or illegally, that are trying their best to do it the right way. Well, they're not going to try to do it the right way now, because immigration officers are literally showing up to court hearings, to immigration hearings where people are, quote, doing it the right way. So Bobbi Althoff, she's done with it. This is affecting her personally. She's got a personal anecdotal story, and now she's reaching out to the President of the United States. Now, whether he ever sees this video, she's got a massive, massive audience here, and she's getting millions of views sharing her message. I think this is a good thing.
President Trump, if you're watching this, please keep watching. I am asking you to please sit down and have an interview with me. I think that perhaps you surround yourself with people who agree with you, and maybe you need to hear another perspective. And maybe I'm not the most educated person to offer that other perspective, but I do feel like, as someone who grew up very Republican, very conservative, very Christian, and as someone who has a lot of family members who also are that way still, I think that we can have a good conversation, and perhaps I can help open your mind to things that you are currently closed to.
Now, it breaks my heart because I do believe Bobbi is naive here. Like, this is not going to happen. But I also think it's decent strategy for her to, to sort of voice her opinions through requesting an interview. And it's not so Bobbi can become more famous or make more money. She's already crushing it. I really don't believe that's the case. I believe this does her more harm than good financially. But I think I say good for her. Good for her for, having those conversations. Now, meanwhile, the government shut down. We're talking about raiding, people at the Super Bowl. But where's the real issue? Where's the releasing of the Epstein files? Where's the lowering of the grocery prices, right? So they're confusing us on culture war issues when nothing's getting done.
Year started, and it also is not lost on anyone that shutting the government down allows them not to swear in our new colleague, Ms. Grijalva from Arizona, who would be the 218th signature to discharge the Epstein files and to put a vote on that on the House floor. So it's convenient for them to shut the government down, and they're not interested in making government work for our constituents.
Yeah, so they basically delayed voting. Mike Johnson, Magic Mike Johnson, delayed approving the new congresswoman who was in a special election. She would be the deciding vote that would push the Epstein file vote to the floor, and they delayed. Now everything's shut down, so we're not going to see that. But here is Mike Johnson getting absolutely reamed here by Representative Madeline Dean, a Democrat from Pennsylvania. Have a listen to this. I mean, this is like he was getting undressed by her, just reamed. Have a listen.
The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks
on your side are too. I don't control.
Oh my.
The president is unhinged. Well, your side's unhinged too. Remember, this is the president we're speaking of.
God,
a lot of folks on your side are too.
Please, that performance in front of the generals, I didn't see it. Is so dangerous. You know I serve on foreign affairs and appropriations. It's a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing.
I just left
you
the
have a president who is unwell.
So she says, you have a president who's unwell. And he says, I didn't even see that propaganda thing. And here's the Whip Clark exposing Mike Johnson's hypocrisy.
Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise are both from Louisiana. Most children in Louisiana are on Medicaid. 64% of all births in Louisiana are paid for by Medicaid. 74% of nursing home residents in Louisiana are on Medicaid. Yet Republicans are willing to shut down government, refusing to even show up for work this week because they want to cut Medicaid by $1 trillion.
This is what the issue is, right? And the Republicans' messaging, their talking points are that, well, the Democrats want to provide free health care to illegal immigrants, which is not the case. The case is they've got these massive tax cuts, so they've had to slash the budget that included health care for so many people. All of these states that are the poor states, right? Oklahoma, Alabama, these states that take more than they give. These are the states that are going to be fucked the most. And folks like me who rely on, like freelancers like me that have our own healthcare, it's going to go up 100. I think they said up to 115%. So we live in a country with a lot of people that are Christian. Bobbi Althoff says she's Christian and, Christian values. The government uses that against us. Christian nationalism, they use our own values against us. They say, well, you have to, if you're for the Christianity, you must be pro-life, which means you have to vote for this, X, Y, and Z. Well, this is what's so crazy. I could take like people in my family that are like, staunch Catholics, and I could say, what you're saying is in complete disagreement from what the Pope is saying. And in my family, and I'm sure a lot of families are like this, would choose politics over the Pope. They absolutely would. And I know this because the Catholic Church actually endorsed Joe Biden. How many Catholics ended up voting against what their own church endorsed? And I always tell people, think for yourself, whatever. But it's just so interesting that here we have the Pope, the highest level Christian Catholic leader. A lot of Christians don't think Catholicism is Christian, whatever Catholics do. But either way, this is him saying, if you're pro-life, you have to question your beliefs on the deportations and the other things that are anti-life.
Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life. So someone who says that I'm against abortion but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants who are in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life. So they're very complex issues. I don't know if anyone has all the truth on them. But I would ask first and foremost that there be greater respect for one another and that we search together both as human beings, in that case as American citizens or citizens of the state of Illinois, as well as Catholics, to say we need to, really look closely at all of these ethical issues.
Ethical issues, not just whether or not you're pro-choice or pro-life at conception, during a pregnancy, first, second trimester, but the question about, are you pro-life when it matters? Are you pro-life when it comes to providing healthcare, which should be a human right to people? Folks will argue this, say healthcare is not a human right. You have to have the right type of job in order to get it. I call BS on that. I respect the Pope's take on this, saying ethical issues are as important as whether you're pro-life or not pro-life. And I think the real pro-life people are those that care about their neighbors, those that care about people that don't look like them, those that care about people that don't speak the same language as them, those that care about people that have different socioeconomic levels at them, that might be lower than them on the food chain, that make less money than them. The pro-life people are the people that want their tax dollars to go to food stamps, to healthcare, to all of the social programs that help all of us, whether or not they're considered a U.S. citizen. If you are in this country we value so much, this country we pay taxes to, if you exist in this country and are trying to work at a Home Depot or on a farm, and are trying to do good, and are trying to live that American dream, you are not the problem. The Pope says so. The Pope says so. And yet, it's a hell of a lot easier to say pro-life. Hell of a lot pro-life. Dig deeper. Think. Put yourself in their shoes. You privileged fucks. You people that just were born on the right side of the street, or the right color, or the right part of the country. You're no better. And the money is there. The money is there for these folks. Don't be told otherwise. I'm out of time. We'll cover the rest of it tomorrow. There's your story. There's your podcast. Give us a 5-star review if you agree. Yeah, we certainly need it. We'll see you in the morning. As always, I'm Dave. This is The Rush.